Welcome to Insight. I'm Wendy Brokaw.
And I'm Mary Louise Van Natta.
Let's talk wine growing.
Oh, let's talk wine.
Let's do it.
That sounds great. Let's do that, Wendy.
We know Oregon is a world leader in environmentalism and sustainable practices. In fact, its land use policies are considered the nation's toughest, if I understand correctly. And these tough policies are greatly helping the state's wine industry, beginning with those pioneer wine growers who were drawn to the Willamette Valley and to the Pacific Northwest and liked these tough policies. So, what made the land and Oregon's land use policy so attractive to them? And why do so many wine growers want to be certified for those sustainable practices? Well, we're going to learn more about that because this is a big deal here. We're becoming a major wine growing region. So, would you please welcome Live Executive Director Chris Serra and Mimi Castillo. She is the owner of Hopewell Vineyards. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Live. Since 1999, you are a nonprofit who has been independently certifying Pacific Northwest wine growers. The more we learned about this process, the more we thought you'd like to know about it. So, first of all, what is LIVE's full name?
Sure. So LIVE is an acronym. It stands for Low Input Viticulture and Enology, and that's just a fancy way of saying grape growing and winemaking. Low input meaning reducing your off-farm chemical inputs into the vineyard, such as pesticides and fertilizers and irrigation water, for instance. So measuring and reducing that as much as possible and still getting a really good crop.
Mm-hmm. And viticulture, and the last word was?
Enology, excuse me.
Enology.
Yeah, that means winemaking.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Think how much we've learned already.
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay. So, while I probably can't repeat your name, I will call you Live. And wine is huge right now. It's this is the place to go. It's the place to go and the place to grow. Kind of, what's the big picture in the Willamette Valley right now?
Sure. So as far as total farm acres in the Willamette Valley planted to vineyard, it's about 20,000 out of 28,000 in the entire state. So it's quite a lot.
Wow.
And LIVE certifies about a third of that.
Okay.
I know that the U.S. Department of Agriculture certifies for organic farming. So how is LIVE certification different?
Sure. So organic certification cuts across all crops and all of agriculture, whereas LIVE looks at just the wine industry in the Pacific Northwest. So we're only certifying vineyards. We look at the vineyard as more of a holistic system and trying to build up the farm to really take care of itself and get growers to use practices that will help the farm to reduce the chemical inputs, for instance, by promoting beneficial insect habitat, treating the workers right, and promoting biodiversity, really to get the vineyard to a system where it can heal itself.
And one of the things that's unique about LIVE is that it also certifies the wineries. So it is a truly holistic certification program.
You're talking about many different aspects. How does it work in real?
We basically will have a checklist of best practice standards that a farmer will go or a winemaker will go through and assess their sustainability against our internationally accredited standard, and then we will send out a third-party inspector to verify the answers and the reporting that they provide us with, so that we make sure with a third party that doesn't have any kind of conflict of interest with whether they pass the certification or not, to verify that they're doing what they say they're doing on the farm. And so I think that third-party aspect is very important, that the farmers aren't certifying themselves and they're not creating their own standard, that our standard is created by an outside body.
I like a video that LIVE had created that sums up an awful lot and shows something pretty beautiful. Let's take a look at the movie.
Let's do it.
Thank you for bringing it.
What is a live wine? A live wine is one that is made in harmony with our natural and social environments, and with minimal impact on ecological balance. Imagine a rolling hillside in the Pacific Northwest, where vineyard rows are interwoven with an abundant variety of flowering plants: crimson clover, green fescue, yellow mustards. There's a quiet hum of bumblebees foraging. Hawks on the wing fly overhead, hunting for little critters in the understory of a stand of native oak trees. A babbling brook nearby is cool and inviting for fish, safe and protected from erosion and runoff. The workers take a break in the shade with some cold water and lunch. There's a sense of camaraderie and a feeling that their work matters for their families and for each other's families. Now you're in a winery. You imagine the solar panels on the roof feeding the new low-energy lights overhead. There is that familiar, beautiful scent of oak and fermented juice. You look over and see someone drawing out some wine for her lab tests. You return to the tasting room and someone, quite possibly the owner, pours you a glass, showing off the new lightweight bottles of the most recent vintage. There's a feeling that all of this is connected. That is a live wine. Live. Certified sustainable.
Wow.
Cool.
That is so
Cool.
beautiful. We're talking, let's get our boots on and go right out in the vineyards with you. What is this about biodiversity? Why is that such a big deal? We're talking birds and bees here.
Well, I think it's one thing that people fundamentally miss when they think about certification programs for agriculture. One of the very Western notions of agriculture is that it's set apart from the natural world. And what Live really understands is that there is no separating agriculture from the natural world. What Live really tries to do is get people to think about what a holistic farm means. How do you facilitate the movement of organisms across your farm to really enforce the resilience of that piece so that you don't need to use as many inputs. You don't need to spray pesticides because you have beneficial organisms that are attacking the bad ones that might harm your crop. Also, when you have a lot of energetic pathways, so a lot of plants talking to one another, you're able to capture and store more water. You're better able to filter water, so you're protecting the watershed. This is a really landscape level holistic look at how we farm, and that is very much one of the strongest things that Live has going for it, because most certification programs stop with these are the lists of chemicals that you can't use, and that's not to knock that, because that's important too, but what we try to do is look at something for the true long term, the multi-generational handoff of these landscapes.
Do people want to have proof that they are certified by Live on their wine bottles?
Sure, yeah. We have many of our members that use our logo on the back label of wine bottles, and when you're looking for a bottle of wine for dinner, you just turn the bottle around and see if there's a logo on the back, whether it's Live's or an organic certification or one that's called biodynamic. Those are all very good and valid certifications that people can look for to help promote this type of agriculture and the ethos behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how
cool.
do people get involved? How do they learn more about Live?
Sure. Well, they can go to our website to learn more, livecertified.org, and they can call us at 503-584-7274, or they can just stop into any local winery and just talk to the person behind the counter about it. And we have so many members, especially in the Willamette Valley, that you're more than likely to run into one when you're out wine tasting.
How fun. Okay, I think you just said we need to go out wine tasting. That's what I heard, Wendy. So,
Let's go.
And cool, and
Message
we
of
want
the
to see.
day.
And
We
definitely
really
want to see what
appreciate
you
your coming in and explaining this to us. It's kind of enriching to think that there are different ways to go about preserving and protecting the land and growing crops that aren't industrial, that are more natural, and this is the way to go.
Well, thank you for the time.
Yeah, thank you for
And
having us. Plant flowers, that's the takeaway from this, everybody.
And thank you for joining us today on Insight. I'm Wendy Brokaw.
And I'm Mary Louise Venata, and we'll see you next time.